So what I'm doing here is sanding this and preparing it for something called top coat, which is good for resins because right now it's highly glossy. The top coat is glossy, but it's scratch resistant, so that's just amazing. It's gonna be a tabletop, so you know, you really want it scratch resistant because I've done these before without that on them, and resin definitely shows the scratches, so it'll be really good on top of this. I'm also going to put it on this piece of granite, which is going on this pedestal that I've created to look like bark. This is granite. This thing weighs a ton, but you can see it's dulled here, so I don't even need to, I might sand this a little bit, but maybe not. And then I'm gonna put it on top of sand this one too, and also put top coat on that. I'm just wiping off that dust, and you can see that I went down a little bit deeper than the resin, but this top coat will cover that. And even if there's a little dust on it, it's a resin top coat, so it really will do the same thing that a resin would, and that it won't, you know, it'll kind of just blend in. It won't be, it's not so globby that it's going to show up. So these marks, they're not going to matter. It would be like putting another coat of resin on it without the trouble. So the underside was sanded also, because what happens is you get these little drips here and they gotta be removed. So I'll just go over the top of this, just wipe this down real quick, and go over the top of this with urethane. And once that dries, then I'll do the top. So I had a gallon of this, and it's even drying up in this thing, but I'm sure down here is usable. So I'm hopefully gonna finish this up. I'll do this tabletop here, I'll do that tabletop there, and I'll do the underside of that granite piece. But first I'm gonna start with this tabletop here. So once this dries, I'll flip it over and I'll put the top coat on. Here's the top coat. Well, let me show you a picture of what that top coat looks like. This is the top coat. It's from Stone Coat Countertops. And it says it's a hybrid coating technology, but it's very scratch resistant. This is a gloss finish. It's clear, so no color changes should occur. but it is, I believe, like a resin top coat, but it's just very, very durable. So that'll be next. So one of the things I have to do here is just make sure the lint is off of this, and anything that's on there that may possibly okay, so I'll just keep that up in the air. So I need 2/3 of this and a third of this. Third of this, 2/3 of this, and I'm gonna guess, but it doesn't really require much. So that was 2 squeezes. Let's see if I can get 2 squeezes out of this. Okay, actually, a third of a squeeze, yeah. So I'm just thinking that's going to be enough. Stir it up, it says for 2 to 3 minutes, so I can set the timer on my watch. I use this big bowl because I'm going to dip that roller in here. They also say to put a little water in it because you can see it's kind of thick. And from past experience, it leaves like globby things. You don't want that. You want to get rid of that. So I'm not sure why it did that, but it did. So they say 10% water. Again, it's a guess. Now this is much more runny. I don't think that'll be a problem. I mean, it dries pretty quick. I'm almost at 2 minutes. I'm gonna go to a full 3. I mean, it's pretty well mixed, but be nicer if it was a 1-to-1 mix. It's much easier to judge. And that's pretty good, having done this several times before. And you'll see the videos at the end that show you different times and examples. So you can put this in a tray and do it that way, but I'm not doing that. Start with this one right here. Leaves these white streaks on it. I want to make sure it's all even. So that line I'm getting there, because I'm pressing kind of hard on the one end. So you go over the whole thing and just lighten it. So it's all even. You don't have any of those lines on it. And I'm just going over the edge. I want to get in here in a curve. And then down at the bottom. So if you look at it at an angle, it kind of has a funky look, but that all dries clear. So I don't know if you can see it well enough. It's, yeah, there you can kind of see it over in that area right there. But it dries clear, so it'll be really nice. And I got the edges, so that's awesome. And this one's good too. And you can see how the surface is even. There's none of this material is heavier than another place. And that's what helps it dry very clear. So at about an hour and a half later, I came down to look at this, and you can see that there's some areas there that need to dry more, and there that needs to dry more. And you can see some modeling there, the reflection of the light. But it doesn't show up that much, and I'm not touching this because I think it's still wet. But it's looking awesome. This is the other one. I put a little bit heavier coat on this, so this will take longer to dry. And there is some modeling on this, but that doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather have it like this and scratch resistant than that high gloss. So this is the next morning, and it's tacky because it's probably, I don't know, 60 degrees in this garage where I did this. And the other one is the same, tacky. So I can't really make a good judgment, but they do still have that textured look, which I'm fine with, as long as it's keeping the wood protected. Now Cyprus is pretty hard, so it's durable. So I found this. Well, I had it from some other tool I took apart, like a base, and I'm going to use that for the leg of the table, and I spray painted it black. I have this, it's about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches thick piece of, I think the piece is on level. I think it's maple. I don't remember, but anyway, I made a pencil mark here. It's hard to see, so I'm going to make it darker with this Sharpie. It's a circle, and this is going to be the foot of the table. So yeah, the leg of the table, the base of the table, that's next. And that'll be the base of the table. So I'm going to use a bandsaw to cut this piece, and you can see it's a wide blade, It's a resaw blade, and I don't want to bother changing it out just to make this one cut. And it's pretty thick, so I'll just do it in sections and then I'll sand it smooth after that. So this is going to be the base for one of those tables. I don't know which one yet, but it's plywood, but I've kind of gone over it with glue to seal some parts of it. Glue, and then I mix sawdust with the glue in areas and also on the bottom. But you can see I shaped it with this carbide cutter, which is very cool. And I've got more aggressive ones in this, but this one worked really nicely. So I got it at Harbor Freight. It's a Bauer, and it fits perfectly on my DeWalt angle grinder. So I'll wait for this to dry, revisit it, sand again with that one, and then I'll put a primer on it, then a paint. I don't know what color paint I'm going to use. The table's black, so I may do black, but I think it'll be big enough to stabilize that table, which is even bigger in terms of its circumference than this. So here's the base. I painted it white with a primer. Try and seal everything off. That was a bug. And the bottom's painted too. And I like the irregular shape. It's kind of funky like the top. So that, and I'll paint this black too, so it blends into the post that I'm going to put on it. And I'll put the post right on this, and then the bottom will attach to the top of the table. So I used some of this satin protective enamel black on the base, and it's nice and dry. Bottom's nice and dry, and now this is gonna go right there like that. It's just a little dusty. And there, and then I'll put the carved cypress tabletop up here.